Hey there everyone, and welcome to another lecture of this SolidWorks series. In this lecture we are going to learn about the most important thing in SolidWorks, and that is providing dimensions to any object. So basically there are two methods of providing dimensions. One is the dimensions itself and another one is a smart dimension, and we are going to see about all these two methods. So let's just jump into our SolidWorks and just see where do we find these dimensions. So right now you will find their dimension over here, just right below this just right in front of this exit sketch option, and here you will find the smart dimension written over here. But you can just find an arrow over here, just click on that and you will find that instead of the smart dimension there are a lot more kinds of dimensions are also available over here. So basically these are the particular kinds of dimensions. Like if you want to provide a horizontal dimensions only, then this is used. Similarly for the vertical dimension as well, and there are a lot more other properties dimension. We are going to see these things first, and later on we are going to see the smart dimensions. So let's just see how we can provide these dimensions. So for that I'm going to create one L-shaped diagram, and with the help of this line, and this is the diagram that I needed. So here just click on this arrow, and the first option you will get over here is the horizontal dimension. So just click on this horizontal dimension, and this dimension will only work for the horizontal values. Let's say I want to provide this dimension of this length, then I just click on this one and you can see that our dimension is provided over here. So just click on that and a modify section will now going to appear. So as I have told you that in SolidWorks or any high-end kind of softwares, you don't have to create any object with an exact dimension first. You just create an object with some random dimensions, and thereafter you just provide dimensions with the help of these dimension tools over here. So once you just click provide any dimension, then it will ask you to whether you want to modify that dimension or not. So you will find the modification dialog box will now appear, and the value in is written over here. So if you will just change this value, so the current dimension is 4044 and I am going to change it to 5000 Then once I have just pressed this arrow, or sorry, the correct mark, or the I just press the enter, then you can see that my line is not automatically going to adjust itself according to that dimension that I will going to provide. So this line is now become of 5,000 Similarly, if you want to change it again, then you just have to click on this dimension again, and again that modification box will going to appear. And if you want to change it, you can just provide the new value over here. Let's say I want to make it 4500. Then once I have done that, you can just press OK. You will find from here that the basic unit that we are using is but if you want the dimensions to be in other unit, then you can just select it from here. The list will appear when you just click on this option. Okay, just a minute. You will find it over here. If you will not going to provide any units, then this unit section will going to appear over here, and you can just select the specific unit that you want. And if you are not selected any of the unit, then by default it will going to have the because my screen unit is So just click on that, and this dimension is now converted changed its value. So this is how we just provide the dimensions. This is only for the horizontal dimension, and this will not work on the vertical lines or any vertical objects. So for providing any object to a vertical dimension, then you just have to go for this vertical dimension section. So just click on that, and now you can just provide the vertical dimensions. Like in a similar case over here, you can find a modification box will appear, and whatever the changes you want, you can just provide it over here. Once you have done your changes, you can just press OK, and that dimension will be provided to that line. Similarly, if you want it into the ordinate one, you can just do that ordinate dimension. So basically, what is this ordinate dimension? So before learning about this ordinate dimension, we are going to see about the horizontal ordinate dimension and vertical horizontal dimension ordinate dimensions first. So let's just see what this horizontal ordinate dimension is. For that, I am going to just provide or just create circles, and these circles are in the same alignment. It means that their center point are in the same alignment. Then I am going for this vertical ordinate dimension, horizontal ordinate dimension, because these circles are in a horizontal position. So just click on that, and then it is asking you to provide one of the ordinate value that becomes the 0. So I'm just going to click on this end point of the line, and you can see that a 0 is now appeared over here. It means that this is taken as a 0 dimension or as a reference dimension. Then if you are going to click on this circle center point, then you can find that the value will automatically going to appear, and this value is just as a reference of this value. It will going to have the line between them like this value, and this value it is taken as this one. Similarly, from this point to this point, it will going to have one value, and from this point to this point, it's something mistake. I'm going to create it again. This value is this one, and from this point to this point, it will going to calculate a new value for that, and from this point to this point as well, it will going to have another value. So let's just see that also. Once you have just click on this, it will be having the dimensions over here, and just click on this circle center point again, and now this value will have, this circle will also have the value that is having a reference with this 0. Again, just click on this circle as well, and you can find this circle's dimension also, and this all are referenced with the help of this one. This is not this diagram is not showing the dimensions between or the separations between these two circles. It is showing the separations between this circle and this 0 point. Similarly, if you have vertical circles like this, just make it little move over here. So just vertical ordinate dimension, what it will do, it will just make this point as a 0, and this will be taken as the vertical now, horizontal, yes, vertical, and then just click on this, and this will going to have this vertical dimensions. Similarly for this as well, you can find this with reference to this 0, it will take these dimensions. So this is all about horizontal and vertical ordinate dimensioning. Similarly, if you have circles along any direction or any angle, you can just make it with the help of this ordinate dimension. Let's say that you have one circle at this angles like this. Then here you don't the horizontal and vertical ordinate dimensions will not work because they are in some angles. So for that, I'm going for this ordinate dimensions. So just click on that and select the endpoint first, and this will become the 0 reference. Just click on that, and this will be now get its dimensions. This ordinate dimension will also going to work for this vertical ones. It's not like that it will just only work for some angle values. It will just have the same properties of this horizontal and vertical ordinate dimensions as well. Okay, so this is all about the ordinate dimensions, horizontal and vertical ordinate dimension. And let's just see about this path length dimension as well. So for that, I'm just going to delete this all things. Again, I'm going to create one line like this L shape. And now what this path length will going to do, it will just going to calculate the length of the path from the starting point to the end point of your object. So just click on this path length, and then it will ask you for the starting point. You can just see the reference over here, the steps that it is asking, then it will going to display it over here. Like it, the first step that this path length will ask you to is to have the, just click on this again, and you can see that it will ask you to select the entity. So just click on this first reference, and this will be taken as your first start point or the starting reference. Then click on this one as well. Sorry, it will going to take the lines, it's my mistake. So just click on this path length again, just select this line, and this will ask you for the selected entities. So just click on that, and this line will going to be selected. Then just click on this line as well, and you can find that these two lines are getting selected. So just press OK, and now it will going to have the path length. So what basically this path length is, this is the length of the whole object from this starting point, this one till this one. You can just find the value. Just click on this horizontal dimension and just provide the horizontal dimension between them. Like this is the horizontal length, and then you have the vertical length of this. Just add up these two, and you will find that this will be the exact same of this path length. Just add this one, and you will find this is the whole path length that will going to come by adding these two. So this is all about the basic dimensions, and next is the smart dimension. This is the most frequently used dimensions that you are going to see, and as the name suggests, this dimension system will work smartly. It means that it will have all the properties which these all are having. In this one section only, you will find all the properties of these dimensions. Like let's say if you want to have the, let's just delete these things first, and then let's say if you want a horizontal dimension, then you don't have to go for the horizontal dimensions again and again. You just select the smart dimension and just click on the line, and it will automatically going to detect that a user want a horizontal dimension over here. Similarly, if you want to have the vertical dimension, so just click on this vertical dimension, and this will going to have the vertical dimension. You can just alter the value from here. You can just click on this one, and you can just change it to the any value that you want, and the line will automatically going to shift like that. Similarly, if you want the distance between the circles, let's say this one and all, so for that I'm again going for the smart dimension instead of this vertical or horizontal ordinate values. Just click on this, and between this point and this point you need a dimension, so just click on these two endpoints, and the SolidWorks will going to automatically detect the dimension that your user want. Similarly, you can modify these dimensions as well. You can just provide a new value, and that will be shifted like that. Similarly, if you want a dimension from this point to this point, then you can just again click on this endpoint and this endpoint, and it will going to provide you that dimension. Similarly, if you want to have the dimension between these two circles as well, then just click on this center point and this center point, and it will going to have the dimensions. Similarly, if you want a radius or a diameter value of any circle, then you can just go for this circle, just provide a circle, just go for the smart dimension, just click on this circle, and you can find that it will automatically going to calculate the dimensions. It will automatically going to detect that this is a curved section, so it will have the radius value. Similarly, for the slot as well, if you want to dimension your slot, you can just create a slot first, and as I've told you that the slot needs two kinds of dimensions, that is the straight value of this line and the radius value of this arc. Then just click on the smart dimension, just click on this line, and it will automatically going to have the dimensions. You can just manage or you can just modify the dimensions from here. Just press OK. And similarly, if you want the dimension of this arc, you can just go for the smart dimension and it will automatically going to detect that this one is the curve nature, this one is having the curved nature, so this will require the radius or a diameter value. So just click on that and that will going to have the dimensions. It will also have the indicate sign symbols representing over here that r is representing the radius value, whereas this symbol is representing the diameter value. Similarly, you can just have the dimensions by addition as well. And let's say if you want to have the line like this one, I have just created a random value of line. Then I just provide the dimension to this line and make it as 3000, let's say. So this line is now of 3000. Now I want to add a 500 more to this value. So I don't need to have the calculator for that. I just click on that. Yes, that's 3000 plus 500 is 3500. That's a basic calculation. But let's say that you want this calculation to be done in calculator. You don't imagine the real values by your own. Then you don't have to just open your calculator and just calculate the values. You just double tap on that and this modify section will now going to appear, and just write it over here just 3000 and I want 500 units more. Then just plus sign over here and just make it 500 and just click on OK, and it will automatically going to add up this like a calculator. So the dimensions that you provide is also behave like a calculator. Similarly, if you want these dimensions to be half, then just double click on that, and you don't require to memorize or to calculate the half value. You just make the division sign over here and just press write 2 over here, then just press enter, and this will automatically going to become half. So this is how all dimension systems will going to work in SolidWorks. So that's all for this lecture, and I'm going to catch up you in the next one.